Good evening, I'm Farhana Sheikh and you're watching AWANI Tonight. Selangor Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Amiruddin Shahri's 10-member Executive Council team were allocated their respective portfolios earlier today. Amiruddin previously said the portfolios had to be readjusted to be in tandem with the Federal Cabinet portfolios, with the Sungai Tua Assemblyman himself holding 5 portfolios.
Saya selaku Datuk Menteri Besar akan memegang 5 portfolio, iaitu pembangunan tanah dan sumber alam, keuangan dan tindakan ekonomi, pemodenan pentadbiran digitalisasi kerajaan yang ketiga, yang keempat komunikasi strategik, dan yang kelima pendidikan dan pembangunan modal insan.
Kinrara Assemblyman Eng Zihan holds the investment and trade portfolio, whilst the Kinchan Assemblyman and former Selangor State Assembly Speaker Eng Swee Lim holds the portfolio of local government development and tourism. Zihan, Swee Lim and Banting Assemblyman V. Paparaidu are also joint chairmen of the Special Committee for Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism and Taoism. Sri Setia Assemblyman Muhammad Fahmi Ngah, who is EXCO for the first time, holds the portfolio of Islamic Affairs, while Kota Anggrek Assemblyman Najwan Halimi heads the Youth and Sports Development portfolio. Housing and Culture portfolios is held by Tanjung Sepat Assemblyman Borhan Aman Shah, while Taman Templer Assemblyman Anfal Sari holds Women's Development and Community Welfare portfolios.
Former 1MDB CEO Arul Kanda Kandasamy and former Treasury Secretary General Tan Sri Muhammad Irwan Serg Abdullah have failed in their bid to quash 1MDB's lawsuit against them. The Sovereign Wealth Fund is suing the duo for alleged breach of trust and conspiracy amounting to $6.59 billion.
High Court Judicial Commissioner Datuk Raja Ahmad Mozanuddin Shah Raja Mozan, in dismissing the applications, ruled that the suit must go to full trial as the court needs to hear witnesses from all parties to come to a decision. In May 2021, 1MDB filed a civil suit against Arul Kanda and Muhammad Irwan over an alleged breach of trust and conspiracy that caused the fund to suffer losses amounting to $1.83 billion in relation to its investment in 1MDB Petrosaudi Limited, which was converted into an investment into Brazen Sky Limited and then converted into an investment in Bridge Global Fund. 1MDB also claimed the duo misappropriated $3.5 billion in 1MDB money paid to Abar Investments and $1.265 billion paid to International Petroleum Investment Company on May 9, 2017. 1MDB also claimed that Muhammad Irwan had conspired with Arul Kanda to cause the fund to implement an employment extension agreement that resulted in it paying 2.91 million ringgit to Arul Kanda, regardless of 1MDB's interests, causing it to suffer losses and damage.
Police have arrested 7 people involved in a brawl near Penang City Stadium on Tuesday night. This after the Malaysia Super League football match between Kedah and Penang, which Kedah won 2-1. The incident took place at 11:20 p.m. as fans were leaving the stadium, with supporters from both sides taunting each other at a petrol station before it escalated into a brawl.
The 7 suspects, aged between 18 to 38, were from Penang, Kedah and Sarawak. They have been remanded for 2 days for an investigation into rioting and causing damage to property. Georgetown OCPD Assistant Commissioner Sofian Santong said 2 of the suspects sustained injuries to their head after they were believed to have been hit by rocks that were thrown and the glass door of a bus was smashed during the incident.
The federal government has no intention to repeal the Security Offences Special Measures Act 2012 or SOSMA. Deputy Law and Institutional Reform Minister Ramkapal Singh, however, said a provision allowing bail for detainees is being considered at the moment as part of recommendations to improve the act.
At present, Section 13 of SOSMA only allows for bail if the offender is below 18 years old, a woman, sick or infirm person. Ramkapal said all SOSMA improvements will be done in stages, though he did not set a timeline when all would be completed. According to him, several engagement sessions with stakeholders, including the Home Ministry, Police, the Attorney General's chambers and family members of SOSMA detainees have been held and the recommendations received will be presented to the Cabinet soon. Earlier in February, Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the government intends to retain SOSMA, but with further amendments, noting that the law is still relevant and crucial in ensuring public order and national security.
The World Health Organization is tracking new subvariants of COVID-19, known as Ares and Fornax, that have begun to spread in the US. Immunologist Professor Sibrande Popema breaks down the current status of the virus.
Basically, the virus is still there, probably never will go away, and the majority is still Omicron, so the same one we've had now for almost 2 years. But there's new variants indeed, and those variants are not more dangerous, but they are again a little bit more infectious than the previous ones. So they have all sorts of fancy names like Ares and so on, but basically they are descendants of Omicron. So let's say there was Omicron, what we've had in the last period was called Arcturus, and these new ones are, just a little bit more infectious again.
Although no new symptoms have been observed from these variants, Popema warns Malaysia could experience a rise in COVID-19 cases once again.
The winter wave will be in Europe and the US, and then it's probably a few months after that when it's coming here, because right now the world is open again. We travel everywhere. Many countries not wearing face masks at all. In Malaysia also less and less. So we are quite open to a new wave infection now.
US President Joe Biden's administration plans to urge all Americans to receive a booster shot this autumn season. With a new wave of infections on the horizon, Professor Popema said it would be wise for Malaysia to follow suit.
When we've had the disease, is good for about half a year, up to maximum 1 year of immunity. So if you want to be protected, it's wise to have another vaccination. Now the question is, how many people should be vaccinated? Certainly people over 65, might consider people over 50, definitely people that are at risk, so people that have severe obesity, people that have lung conditions like COPD, people with hypertension. Those are the people that definitely, in my opinion, should be vaccinated again. There are new vaccines as well. A couple of companies have made new vaccines that are more specific, not for these latest variants, but the one before, so that's Arcturus. So Arcturus is, let's say, the son of Omicron. And for that one, they have created new vaccines that, as they say now, are also working for the newest variants.
Popema added that the government must act now if it wishes to provide another vaccine rollout.
I think, this is the time where the government should consider, a decision on whether they want to provide vaccinations again, which groups they want to provide it to, and also how they can purchase the new vaccines, because they've just been produced, just been tested. They will come online in the next months, and I'm pretty sure that, again, it will not be so easy to lay our hands on sufficient doses. So this is something that needs to be done now.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Sekilas cahaya merah, sepantas kilat.
My name's Barry Allen.
I am the Flash.
Who apparently is in trouble.
Adakah dia cukup laju untuk memintas pesaingnya?
I've spent my entire life protecting this world.
The Flash, stream ke semua musim bila-bila masa di Ultra Box, di mana jua dengan Astro Go. Astro baharu, tak macam dulu.
Welcome back. India's Chandrayaan-3 craft has touched down on the lunar surface, making it the first country in history to successfully land a spacecraft near the moon's south pole. This is India's second attempt to land on the moon, a mission seen as crucial to lunar exploration and its standing as a space power. The stakes were high as the previous attempt failed in 2019, and the latest mission comes only days after Russia's first moon mission in nearly 50 years, aimed for the same region, crashed on the lunar surface. The Chandrayaan-3 is expected to remain functional for 2 weeks, running a series of experiments on the lunar surface. The region's water ice could supply fuel, oxygen and drinking water for future missions. India becomes the fourth nation to land a spacecraft on the moon, joining the Soviet Union, the United States and China. A successful moon landing marks India's emergence as a space power, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government aims to spur investment in private space launches and related satellite-based businesses.
ये हम लोगों के लिए बहुत ही गर्व की बात है। हिंदी में एक कहावत है।
In other news, South Korea held a nationwide air raid exercise for the first time in 6 years, with sirens blared and people evacuating to shelters or underground facilities. The drills are a key element of the annual Uchi civil defense exercises to improve responses to counter North Korea's growing nuclear and missile threats.
The 20-minute exercise kicked off at 2 p.m. with an air raid siren. The alarm remained in effect for 15 minutes, signalling people to evacuate to air raid shelters or underground facilities. Drivers in about 200 areas nationwide were told to pull to the side of the road. People in nearly 500 supermarkets, movie theatres and other public facilities were guided to evacuate. In some regions bordering North Korea, residents face additional scenarios, including chemical, biological and radiological training, wearing a gas mask and using emergency food rations. The Ulchi Civil Defense Exercises was launched in 1969 in the wake of a raid by North Korean commandos into the presidential compound in Seoul. There are about 17,000 shelters installed across the country of 52 million. Last May, the government caused panic among some residents when it issued a false air raid alarm and evacuation warning following North Korea's failed satellite launch, even though the capital was far off the rocket's trajectory.
Over in Greece, hundreds of firefighters are fighting to contain a wildfire in the outskirts of Athens that has left at least 20 dead. Over 60 fires have erupted in the last 24 hours, while more than 25,000 people in an outer district of the capital have been evacuated.
Authorities warned that the blazes could spread further as winds pick up speed in what is the second major outbreak of the summer. 6 countries were sending help via the European Union's civil protection mechanism. Over 40,000 hectares have been destroyed in wildfires in the 3 days from August 19th to 21st. Earlier on Tuesday, rescuers recovered 18 burned bodies believed to be migrants in a rural area in the northern Evro region bordering Turkey. In July, tens of thousands of foreign tourists were evacuated from the island of Rhodes, where a fire burned for a week.
A pair of pandas celebrated their 17th birthday at the National Zoo today. Sing Sing and Liang Liang enjoyed a birthday cake made of ice and fresh fruits while visitors wished them a happy birthday.
Both were born on August 23, 2006 and arrived in Malaysia in May 2014. The male panda was previously named Fua and the female panda Feng Yi. They are now called Sing Sing, which means prosperity, and Liang Liang, which means pretty. The giant pandas were loaned to Malaysia for 10 years to mark the 40th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Malaysia and China. Since their arrival here, they became parents to 3 cubs, Nuan Nuan, Yi Yi and Sheng Yi. Nuan Nuan had already returned to China back in 2017, while China has yet to agree on a date for the homecoming of Yi Yi and Sheng Yi.
That wraps up AWANI Tonight. I'm Farhana Sheikh. Thank you for watching.